Was it ever reported to you by anyone that a complaint had been laid against you and a charge had been raised by Ms. Mentor?
Nothing.
Never.
Nothing, yes.
The conduct reported here that a complainant had been advised by a member of the Hawks to exclude the president's name, any president for that matter. How do you regard such conduct?
Well, I know nothing about this matter.
Is such conduct acceptable, though? That's what I'm saying. Had you known about it, or had you been told about it, would you have responded in any way?
I'm sorry, I think I missed the question. Just repeat
Yeah, I'm
the
just
question.
asking if he has any view of the allegation made by Ms. Mentor. You're free to comment.
No,
I'm inviting a comment, or you need not comment if you wish.
No, I've got no idea what's happening here.
Well, I'm sure it will have some impact on the ANC because the president also, as once the head of ANC intelligence, will know better than many of us who joined the struggle later than them. So it is not neither there or here. It's up to people to be objective. It's up to the commission. I think the commission is about capture in terms of whether there is corruption or fraud committed and all that. The terms of reference of the commissions are very clear. Well, it does, and it will have an impact on the African National Congress. It depends how we handle it. I respect all presidents of the African National Congress. Why not this one?
The legal team for the former president has no power to prescribe to the Commission's legal team how to do their job, nor has the legal team of the Commission nor has the legal team of the Commission power to prescribe to the former president's legal team how to do their job.
Could you tell us a little, please, about deployment? If it exists, firstly, and secondly, if it does exist, how it is employed or utilized as a manner of influencing selection of board members in SOEs and senior executives in SOEs.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, there is a deployment committee in the ANC. The ANC took a decision that, given the fact that it was a ruling party, it is given that position because it has won elections. In other words, people in the country feel that the ANC can lead them better on the basis of its policies. Now, the ANC has an interest once it has put its government, because the government would have come as a result of the ANC having been accepted by the voters that the programs and policies that it is putting across would indeed be implemented. And therefore, it took a decision that there must be some assistance to government in terms of finding people to do specific things.
Who would ordinarily sit on the deployment committee? Is it appointees of the party? Is it people who fulfill particular posts? Can you assist us there?
Yes. There are people who are appointed. Ever since it has existed, normally it is the person who have been chairing, they would be the deputy president. Why the Deputy President? Because the Deputy President is a Deputy President of both the party and government. He would also understand what is needed in government. So you don't have a person who's chairing this committee who knows nothing about what's happening in government, because he would not be able to assist to get the kind of people that are really needed in government.
Would the sitting president sit on the deployment committee?
No, doesn't sit, but can, if he has ideas about things, can also interact with the chair, whatever.
She says in paragraph 23, however, the usefulness of such a deployment committee these days is debatable. And she asks the question, how can just a handful of people possibly have the institutional knowledge and resources to pronounce on suitable candidates for every senior position in government and the private sector? Let's leave aside the word every there, and may I ask you to comment on that, that observation of hers?
Well, I don't know. This would be her own views as an individual, but the organization has taken a decision to have this kind of structures, because here she's just expressing her own views.
No, I understand.
Which is not accurate. The views that is not accurate because, as I said, setting up that committee, there are ministers who serve there, who have the institutional memory, who serve there, chaired by the Deputy President, who sits in the cabinet and every cabinet committees. So it's not a correct argument that she's putting. She's just expressing a view.
Yes.
Why should you not take people who are loyal to the party?
Yes.
If they have skills and everything, you know them, they are people who interact all the time.
Well,
why must we say, no, because we are loyal to the party, we are not taking you?
Well, you might say it would be wrong to say somebody must be appointed simply on the basis of loyalty to the party and on no other basis. But if loyalty to the party is one of a number of factors, including qualifications, experience, and whatever, then you might say there is nothing wrong with that. I'm not sure. Is it your understanding that loyalty to the ruling party or a political party should be a factor in appointments that are made in government?
No, I'm not necessarily saying that should be the case. I'm saying political parties globally, once they win elections, they take their people to the government to place them, because those people are expected to implement the policies.
What she describes as a fiction arose at the time, which was untrue, that Siyabonga Gama, Mr. Gama, then CEO of Transnet Freight Rail, was second on the list of preferred candidates for the position of Transnet CEO. She says there was no such preferential list. Do you know anything about that?
There was no
preferential list. She says that at the time, there was a belief or an understanding amongst some, a fiction, she says, that there was a list of preferred candidates, and that second on that list was Mr. Gama. Do you know anything about that?
I remember that, yeah.
I'm sorry?
I say I remember that.
Now, do you say there was such a list? She says there was no such list. Ms. Hogan says the following: I was shocked and disappointed when President Zuma informed me that he was adamant that Mr. Gama was his only choice for GCEO. I informed him that that was not possible and that Mr. Gama was not the board's choice, and I could not override the board as they had undergone a very professional selection process. Do you have any comment about that?
I don't remember myself saying these things. How could I have said this when somebody is being charged with serious charges? And I would say, no, take the person. I don't remember me insisting on this.
Well, what she says is at that meeting, you informed her that Mr. Gama was your only choice for GCEO.
Was?
Your choice for GCEO.
And not just choice. You were right. Your only choice.
It couldn't be like that. We don't work like that. I've got difficulties with this with this report because.
What was your view, Mr. Zuma, about the appointment of Mr. Gama as GCEO of Transnet?
What?
What was your view as to whether he should be appointed or not?
I think I was looking at the process, that whatever happens at the end, that will be the decision. I did not put my preference on Gama or whoever.
I do not think it's fair to ask someone who was head of state to explain to you the process of selecting people when you have the document that tells you from the right person. I don't think it's fair to this witness.
Well, Mr. Skakane, sometimes you have a laid down process and you have a different understanding of persons of what the actual process was that was followed. Sometimes a laid down process is not followed. So the question was meant to get what his understanding was of what the process was. Would there be records of any correspondence if, for example, you can't remember now, but if you did respond by way of a memo to the minister or a letter, would you know whether there would be such records in the presidency, or you wouldn't know?
In this process, we don't necessarily write to
ministers.
To the ministers.
Okay.
Either you ask the minister to come to say, I seek a clarification here or so.
Yes.
Or you talk to the, even to the official from the
Yes.
presidency or
Yes.
the people who are in charge of the cabinet, the secretariat.